Yeah, I mean, first of all, speaking, this is a pretty serious stroke. It's certainly one that he can recover from, but it's serious, no doubt, based on what we've heard. Again, they haven't released these medical records, but a lot of people can see a little bit what's going on here. Let me show you this. I just find this really fascinating. Again, when we talk about speech, the idea that speech really is your ability to express yourself through spoken and written word, but also to receive speech. And that's typically done on the left side of the brain over here. What is interesting about Fetterman is that his ability to understand speech seems to be affected, his processing of those sounds. So he's relying on what's back here, which is your visual areas of your brain, instead to basically read the words and then be able to respond. I watched a lot of that interview that he did, and he responds pretty quickly once he reads the words. Sometimes he has difficulty saying the words, which again would be a part of the brain up here that's likely affected.
She's up next. Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman sits down for his first in-person interview since he had a stroke.
I always thought I was pretty empathetic. Emphatic. I think I was very, empathetic. That's an example of the stroke. It changes everything. Yeah. Everything about it has changed, especially early after the stroke. The ability to really understand exactly what I'm being heard but it gets much, much better where I take in a lot. But to be precise, I use captioning. So that's really the major challenge.
Let me just show you here. And again, this is really interesting, but this is a brain model. The left side of the brain is typically where people have speech sort of reside in their brains. And speech means your ability to speak and write, but also to understand spoken and written words. It's all referred to as speech. What you see is he seems to have difficulty hearing spoken word and processing that. So as a result, that's located here in this part of the brain. But back here is where you have your visual part of your brain. He seems to be able to read the words, understand them, and then respond. So he's sort of compensating, if you will, this, in closed captioning versus hearing it. He does not appear to have a problem with cognition. He's responding quickly. He supposedly took a couple of tests where he performed well on those tests. We haven't seen the results of that. We haven't seen any of these medical records. But overall, you could hear his fluency of speech and things like that. So not to commingle cognition with functional deficit that people do recover from in the form of this stroke.
We've asked for your medical records. We've asked to have a conversation with someone from your medical team, to interview your physician. You've declined those requests. Why?
Well, I feel like we have been very transparent in a lot of different ways. When our doctor has already given a letter saying that I'm able to serve and to be running.
Don't voters deserve to know your status now?
Being in front of thousands and thousands of people and having interviews and getting around all across Pennsylvania, that gives everybody and the voters decide, if they think that it's really the issue.
I mean, look, it raises a lot of questions. I think the risk is that it makes it seem like they're hiding something, right? That if something came out in these records, it would be a political problem, and therefore they would prefer that the public not see them.